Your Honor.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bexar County Court at Law Number 6 in the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court. I'm Judge Wayne Christian. Today is our plea docket day. Representing the state in all matters will be Mr. Eddie Villarreal, Mr. Arthur Reed. Representing the Bexar County CSCD will be Ms. Susan Gross. And is Ms. Gross with us at this time?
Yes, sir.
Please raise your right hand. I'll swear you in at this time. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you very much. The cases I have set for hearing today are motion to revoke probation, cause 653301, State of Texas versus June Eileen De Leon, represented by Mr. Robert Gebbia. Is Mr. Gebbia with us at this time?
Good morning, Your Honor. I am present on Zoom in your courtroom, and there is Ms. June De Leon also present, Your Honor.
Great. We're going to take you first. Be right back with you. I've got one Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court Track 2 plea and probation agreement, cause 661918, State of Texas versus Marco Sebastian, represented by Ms. Carissa Jelkowski. Ms. Jelkowski, are you ready to proceed?
We are, Your Honor.
Thank you. I have several pleas, cause 674400, State of Texas versus Robert Fernandez, represented by Mr. Scott McCrum. Is Mr. McCrum ready to proceed? Is Scott not with us at this time?
He's going to be late, Your Honor.
Fair enough. I've got cause 621410, State of Texas versus Mark Maychak, represented by Mr. Bo Hopman. Is Mr. Hopman with us today?
Good morning, Judge. We're present and we're ready to proceed.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. I've got cause 669381, State of Texas versus Kenneth Ross, represented by Mr. Kirk Grancy. Mr. Grancy, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, we're ready, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cause 648160, State of Texas versus Zachary Fahey, represented by Mr. Kyle Simpson. Is Mr. Simpson with us at this time?
Your Honor, he is not signed in, nor have they signed the paperwork yet.
Thank you. Cause 674124, State of Texas versus Angela Ravel, represented by Mr. Ross Brendel. Mr. Brendel, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cause number 657354, State of Texas versus Kendrick Richardson, represented by Mr. Michael Bellevue. Mr. Bellevue, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, we are, Judge.
Thank you. And last, cause 678732, State of Texas versus Ruth Arroyo, represented by Mr. Douglas Kapmeyer. Mr. Kapmeyer, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, we're both ready, Your Honor.
Fair enough. Let's take our MTR first, and then we'll start running bursts of pleas here. This is cause 653301, State of Texas versus June Eileen De Leon, represented by Mr. Robert Gebbia. This is a motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. The first document I have in this case is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference. That is purportedly has both the signatures of Ms. De Leon and Mr. Gebbia on it. In fact, Ms. De Leon, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Gebbia, as attorney for Ms. De Leon, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I have in this case is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked, quote, is an adjudication of guilt following a deferred adjudication, and the defendant has a limited right of appeal. In fact, Ms. De Leon, is this your signature on this document also, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Gebbia, as attorney for Ms. De Leon, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, it is, Judge.
Mr. Gebbia, my understanding is that this is going to be an uncontested motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Ms. De Leon, in cause 653301 on the motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision, how do you plead, ma'am?
Your Honor, we enter a plea of true with an explanation.
Fair enough. Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties of the status of Ms. De Leon's probation? I remind you, you're still under oath.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning. Ms. De Leon has been reporting as directed. We last saw her on March 21st, 2022. She has paid $1,128 towards her fees. She has a balance of $167 and is current at this time. She's completed all 24 hours of her community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, the CAT-SNP program, as well as a term on a SCRAM device. She has had 7 negative drug tests to date, 3 diluted drug tests. She is currently back on the Smart Start mobile, where she is testing at 4 times per day. And as alleged on the motion, she has had 9 skip tests and 1 high BRAC, which occurred December 20th, 2021 at 0.021. And since the motion was filed, She has had 19 additional skip tests. She has no criminal history, and her officer is recommending that her probation be extended on the Smart Start mobile an additional 60 days.
Mr. Gebbia, what are you requesting?
Your Honor, we're asking that her probation be terminated. She could make that payment of $160 paid in full today. I think she's a wonderful young lady. She's doing everything that be in compliance. She's juggling the responsibilities she has on probation with her employment and her family status. She takes very, very seriously. Her and I have had many discussions about how important this is to her, and she wants to do everything right by you and make sure that she is on the right side of the law, Your Honor. I think she's a good young woman, and I really appreciate her doing everything she can to be in compliance with this court's orders.
Mr. Gebbia, let me explain what my perception is of the facts of this case and ask you to comment on that. This is her second motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. The allegations on the first one, which I guess were back in July, plus or minus of 2021, they had several positives for alcohol, several skip tests. And at that point in time, she volunteered to go on the scram bracelet, and she went on the scram bracelet for 60 days. And I don't think we had any problems during that 60 days on the scram bracelet. She came off the scram bracelet and plus or minus immediately had another positive for alcohol and another at least 9 skips on the Smart Start mobile that we had switched her to. So I've just run out of options with Ms. De Leon. The textbook solution would be inpatient, drug alcohol rehab, but we don't really have an option of that in Bexar County, as you are aware, because it's so backlogged, she would have to sit in jail for probably 60 days before she even got a bed at SATA. So that obviously is not something probably the defense is willing to consider as an option, although I'll be happy to do that if she wanted to do that. Would you go ahead and give me your ideas on what I just laid out for you?
Your Honor, I think what you explained is symbolic of a maturation process. She's obviously very young. You can tell just by looking at her. I think she's learned a lot since she's been on here. If the court is willing to continue to supervise her for another 60 days, as is being recommended by the probation unit, then we will, of course, honor the court's orders and do everything that we can to show you that we're going to be in line with everything that needs to be done and good to go.
Can't stop her from drinking. I'm running out of options.
Your Honor, I think she's been super clean. Remember that the last violation that Officer Gross, who's been very accommodating and provided me with all the documentation, that goes way back to December.
She got a high BRAC of 20.021 on December 20th, 2021. And I think this MTR was filed on January 7th, 2022.
And she's been in compliance and reporting, Judge. So the
Because that, that's for sure. All right, I got it. State, what is your recommendation, please?
State recommends revocation, Your Honor.
Ms. De Leon, in cause 653301, the court accepts your plea of true with an explanation. I grant the state's motion to revoke your deferred adjudication probation. I adjudicate you guilty of the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I sentence you to 90 days in the Bexar County Jail, assess a $1,000 fine plus court cost, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. I show her to have 7 days credit at least. My understanding is the sheriff is now giving 3 for 1 on jail time, but I'm not the sheriff, so I'm not really in control of that. She's to report to the Bexar County Jail on Monday, the 25th of April, 2022 at 9 a.m., recalling all pretrial bond conditions and warrants. Anything further from the state of the defense on Ms. De Leon?
don't you think,
State, Your Honor.
Dream, Your Honor, 90 days in the jail for these violations when the probation department is recommending continued supervision? Can she do that on the GPS device, Your Honor? She has a family and employment and all the things that everyone has, and the Bexar County Jail is quite full.
Mr. Gebbia, how much nicer could this court have been? I left her on deferred adjudication the first time we had alcohol violations and skips on the Smart Start mobile. I let her volunteer to do the scram device. That worked for 60 days. As soon as she came off the scram device and went back on the Smart Start mobile, she had a high BRAC for alcohol and she started skipping tests again. I don't know how this court's been bent over backwards doing backflips trying to be nice to Ms. De Leon. I'm run out of options.
You are a very nice man. Everyone knows that about you, Judge. But sending a young woman to the Bexar County Jail for 90 days, in my opinion, just sounds a little bit extreme. I'm not trying to undercut the honor of this court in any way. I think there are alternatives for us.
As you're well aware, I could send her for 180 days, but I gave her credit for reporting and some of the good things she's done. She went to the outpatient drug course. It's not working, but she went to it. I've just had options, Mr. Gibby. I apologize to you and the defendant that that's the way it is, but I didn't put her here, and I've given her every chance in the book. I don't know how much nicer I could be. She's going to go out and kill herself or somebody else drinking and driving, and I'm not going to be responsible for it. There you go. Anything further from the state or the defense on Ms. De Leon?
Yes,
Nothing
Judge.
from the state, Your Honor. Oh,
And for the record, I have no objection to the sheriff of Bear County giving her 3-for-1 or whatever his highest quotient is for time in jail. And that's the way that is. Good luck, Ms. De Leon. Thank you, Mr. Gebbia. You're excused.
Ms. De Leon,
Yes.
the judge will be signing a Smart Start removal order today, and it will be sent over to Smart Start probably tomorrow. So get in contact with Ms. Olmos tomorrow and make sure that that document has been sent over so that you can go and turn in your device.
Okay.
Okay, good luck to you.
Okay, give me a couple minutes to get organized here.
Judge, shall I give my spiel while you're doing
That would
that?
be a wonderful thing. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody. I am Officer Gross with the Probation Department, and just a few housekeeping things. Before you make your plea this morning, if you currently reside outside of Bear County or the state of Texas, or you intend on moving outside of Bear County or the state of Texas, you need to advise the judge before you make your plea. Okay? For anyone that is granted probation today, you will be receiving a telephone call, an email, or a text from the probation department. They will be setting up your orientation. It is your responsibility to go to that orientation and file your paperwork and sign it. Now, this will be on Zoom. It will not be in person. So you need to pay attention, watch your phones for your emails, etc. If you have not heard from the probation department by next Wednesday morning when you wake up, you need to call the intake department, and that telephone number is 210-335-7446. That number has also been put into the chat. Again, 210-335-7446. So if you haven't heard from probation by next Wednesday, call them. Let them know that you are placed on probation and you need an orientation appointment. If you fail to go to that orientation appointment, the judge will issue a warrant for your arrest and you'll be right back here, and you probably won't have a happy ending. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Mr. Fahey, if you're talking to me, you're muted. Okay, I guess not. Okay, if there's no questions, the judge will be back in just a moment. Good luck to you all.
Okay. We've got cause 661918, State of Texas versus Marco Sebastian. It's the Bear County Veterans Treatment Court Track 2 plea and probation agreement. Cause 674400. Nope, not there yet. Fernandez is not ready, correct?
Fernandez is ready, Your Honor.
He is ready.
Oh, that's Mr. McCrum, Your Honor. So, no,
Is Mr. McCrum here or not?
no, he is not, Your Honor. Sorry.
And Mr. Simpson's not here, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, got cause 621410, State of Texas versus Mark Machak, represented by Mr. Bill Hopman. Got cause. Good morning, sir. Got cause number 669381, State of Texas versus Kenneth Ross, represented by Mr. Kurt Grancy. Got cause number 674124, State of Texas versus Angela Ravel, represented by Mr. Ross Brendel. Got number 657354, State of Texas versus Kendrick Richardson, represented by Mr. Michael Bellevue. And have cause number 678732, State of Texas versus Ruth Arroyo, represented by Mr. Douglas Kapmeyer.
Present, Your Honor.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the first document I'm looking at in each of your cases is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference that purports to have both the defendant's and the attorney's signature on it. In fact, Mr. Sebastian, in clause 661918, is this your signature on this document, sir? Mr. Sebastian, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Chalkowski, as attorney for Mr. Sebastian, this is also your signature on this document.
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Mr. Maychak, in clause 621410, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, it is, sir.
And Mr. Hopman, as attorney for Mr. Maychak, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Ross, in clause 669381, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Grancy, as attorney for Mr. Ross, is this also your signature on this document?
Well, Judge, one thing I want to address very quickly, your probation officer mentioned that if you're going to ask for the case to be transferred, you need to do it before the plea. So I want to bring up Mr. Ross lives and works at the Naval Air Station in Kingsville. So we'll be asking that it be transferred to Kingsville.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay.
Judge,
Yes,
if I
that's
may
my
also
signature.
interject, Mr. McHike does not reside in Bear County either.
And where's Mr. McCack reside?
Well, he maintains a residence in Luling, but he works in both Houston and in San Antonio.
What would be the best place to have probation? Or Susan, I guess we could just do a report by Zoom from wherever he is. Would that not be the most efficient way to do that?
Yes, Your Honor. In both of these cases, that would be the best instance. So what will happen is they will be on probation and they will report via Zoom to Bear County. However, in their respective counties, it will be their obligation to locate and find classes that they can complete in their county. And they will also have to find a location where they can do their monthly drug test and have those test results released to their probation officer.
Okay, Mr. Grancy, is Mr. Ross active duty military at this time?
No, well, Mr. Ross could address that. I believe he is, your civil service, right, Mr. Ross?
Yes, sir. I'm a contractor.
All right, fair enough. Thank you, sir. Okay, let me get back to where I was on documents entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference in clause 669381. Mr. Ross, is this your signature on this document, sir?
You have to unmute.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, it is. Sorry.
And Mr. Grancy, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Ravel, in clause 674124, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Brendel, as attorney for Ms. Ravel, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Richardson, in clause 657354, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Bellevue, as attorney for Mr. Richardson, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Arroyo, in clause 678732, is this your signature on this document, ma'am? Was that yes? I missed it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. And Mr. Kapmeyer, as attorney for Mr. Arroyo, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The next document I have is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions that purports to have your signatures on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, Mr. Sebastian, in clause 661918, is this your signature on this document also, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Maychak, in clause, or Maychak, I guess, in clause 621410, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, it is, sir.
And Mr. Ross, in clause 669381, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Ravel, in clause 674124, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Richardson, in clause 657354, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Arroyo, in clause 678732, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
By signing this document, are each of you telling me that if you had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety, if you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorneys, so that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, Mr. Sebastian?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Maychak?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Is that correct, Mr. Ross?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is that correct, Ms. Ravel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Is that correct, Mr. Richardson?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And is that correct, Ms. Arroyo?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Chalkowski, as attorney for Mr. Sebastian, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
I have, and he is, Your Honor.
Same question for attorney for Mr. Makak. Mr. Hopman?
He is, Your Honor, and I have.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Mr. Ross. Mr. Grancy?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Ms. Ravel. Mr. Brendel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Mr. Richardson. Mr. Bellevue?
Yes.
Thank you. Same question for attorney for Mr. Arroyo. Mr. Kapmeyer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sebastian, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Makak.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Ross.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Ms. Ravel.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Richardson.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Arroyo.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Chalkowski, as attorney for Mr. Sebastian, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
I have, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Hopman, as attorney for Mr. Makak.
They have, Your Honor.
Same question for Mr. Grancy, as attorney for Mr. Ross.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Brendel, as attorney for Ms. Ravel.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question, Mr. Bellevue, as attorney for Mr. Richardson.
Yes, they have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. Kapmeyer, as attorney for Mr. Arroyo.
Yes, sir.
And State, did you send me a plea script today?
I did this morning, Your Honor. I can resend it.
Let me find that. Give me a 2-minute break. That'll save us lots of time. Okay, back on the record. Mr. Sebastian in cause 661918 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, second offense. How do you plead, sir?
Guilty.
I have no contest on my paperwork. Mr.
No.
Kowski, is that what you request?
No contest.
Yes.
Court accepts the plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, second offense. State, is there an agreement?
Yes, Your
For
Honor.
Mr. Sebastian.
Yes, Your Honor. Track 2, guilty to driving while intoxicated, second offense, $1,000 fine, court costs, 1 year over 12 months probation, 80 hours community service, fully probated, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, DWI intervention, DIP live, VTC treatment completion.
And Mr. Kowski, that's your understanding of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
Mr. Sebastian, in cause 661918, the court accepts your plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, second offense. I find you guilty. I assess 1 year in the Bear County Jail, probated for 1 year, a $1,000 fine plus $25 in court costs, 80 hours community service, probating all that based on your military service, DWI intervention, DWI victim impact panel, Smart Start mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 6 months, outpatient drug with either the Veterans Administration or another designated VTC provider, requiring a successful completion of the Veterans Treatment Court. Is that your understanding of the agreement, state?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is that your understanding of the agreement, defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Sebastian, I have one more document for you to identify. This one is entitled Track 2 Post Adjudication, which is a contract by and between you and your attorney and the Bear County Criminal District Attorney's Office. Said contract setting out all the requirements and prerequisites of your successful completion of the Veterans Treatment Court. In fact, sir, is this your signature on this document also?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Chalkowski, as the defense counsel for Mr. Sebastian, this is also your signature on this document.
It is, Your Honor.
And Mr. Reed, I have a signature of an Everardo Villarreal. Can you confirm that he is an assistant criminal district attorney assigned to this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we got everybody on contract now. We're in good shape. Mr. Chalkowski, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Sebastian, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
What did you do in the military, sir?
I was a medic. I was a healthcare specialist, Your Honor.
Did you go to the war?
I was, no, I did not get to go to the war. I went to Germany, Korea, and Fort Sam.
Well, we'll just say you kept Al Qaeda and the Taliban out of Germany. Will that work?
Yes.
That's our story, and we'll stick to that.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for your service, sir. You're going to get a call from Ron Mora at some point today, and he'll get you set up to in process. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Chalkowski. Thank you, Mr. Sebastian. You're excused.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. We got going for Mr. Maycock. And state, you got a motion.
Yes, Your Honor. We move to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement.
Objection from the defense, that will be granted.
No objection, Your Honor.
Therefore, Mr. Maycock in clause 621410 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
I plead no contest, Your Honor.
Is there an agreement from Mr. Maycock?
Yes, Your Honor.
We do.
180 days over 12 months deferred adjudication, $500 fine, court costs, 48 hours of community service, 18 hours to be probated, DWI education, victim impact panel, CAT-SNP, and Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
And Mr. Hopkins, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Judge, that is in essence, but we've been carrying the handheld for the whole time. We just would like to use that device.
That's what we're gonna use. It's called a Smart Start mobile device. We continue to use that. You should be at 4 blows a day. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. He's blowing all the time, as far as I know, and he's had that since the onset of August of 2019.
Yeah,
And has been
everybody in the sport gets stuck with that because I can monitor folks 24 hours a day instead of just when they're driving whatever car they own that has the ignition interlock on it. So nobody dies. It works really well. So no problem.
Can we stay with that, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
And he needs to do 6 more months of that, and that'll be half his term, and then you can take it off if we haven't had any problems.
Very good, Judge.
And let me do a little writing here. I'll be right back with you. And Mr. Reed, on when we're doing deferred adjudication, there's no underlying sentence. In other words, you've got 6 months here over 12 months deferred adjudication. All the complete sentence availability is open to the court on any deferred adjudication. So in the future, you don't need to worry about having it underlying on a deferred.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Maycack, in class 621410, the court accepts your plea of no contest, defense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt, place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation. It says a $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, probating 18 of those. Smart Start mobile, home interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 6 months. DWI ed, DIP, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program or equivalent outpatient drug, wherever you're going to be. Susan, do they have caps online, or is that not something that we could use that way?
No, sir. The classes have all gone back to live classes.
Okay.
There may still be some DWI and victim impact, the education course available online, but CATS-NIP is not available online.
Judge, and
go ahead, sir.
If we may indicate to the court, we've already completed the victim impact panel.
Great.
We did that in January, so we'd like to get credit for that if we could.
He just needs to show proof he's done that to his probation officer, and we're good to go.
Yes, sir.
And defendant is going to be, does he travel all over Texas or just those 3 cities you gave me? San Antonio, Luling, and Houston, I think you said?
Mr. McKike?
That's primarily where I go to.
Well, I'm going to say you're going to be allowed to travel I'm going to say you're going to be allowed to travel anywhere in Texas for work purposes without having to get permission each time you're going somewhere. And then wherever you are, you can report by Zoom to the Bexar County CSCD probation department. And that hopefully will make it easier on you. And you're going to have to find somewhere you can take this outpatient drug course, and your attorney, I'm sure, will be helpful in that. But that's going to have to be done at some point in time.
No problem. Thank you.
Anything?
Judge,
go ahead,
Judge,
yeah.
Judge, we've already completed that course as well. We took
that
one almost. Sir?
What course did y'all take in addition to the victim impact panel?
We took the new choices and completed that. We produced a copy of that to the state a while back.
And is that an outpatient drug alcohol course?
I believe it was, Judge, but it was super intensive. I've got it in front of me now. New Choices Treatment Centers intensive outpatient program that he completed on November 11th of 2019.
And how many hours is that course?
It was, I think 24, Judge, but I think 24 credit. Well, no, it was more than that because it was 3 or 4 hours every time, and it was for Mr. McKike. Help me out on that, please.
Yes, it was 24 meetings, and it was 3 hours per meeting.
Wow.
That's right.
All right, just send us a copy of successful completion of that, and we'll certainly give him credit. No problem.
Thank you, Judge. I knew it had 24 in it, but I couldn't remember how it was calculated.
Anything further from the state or the defense of Mr. Maycack?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
Good luck, Mr. Maycack. Thank you, Mr. Hopman.
Thank you, Judge. May we be excused?
Susan, hang on just a second. Susan, does he have to do any special things since he's not going to physically be here to sign in with probation?
He will be doing his orientation via Zoom. And like I said, if you don't hear from them by next Wednesday morning, call them at that number. And then you'll do your Zoom online. You'll sign all your paperwork online, and you'll be assigned your officer and go from there. And Judge, if you can notate on your paperwork that he's to receive credit for those classes, that would be awesome.
Can do.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see what we're gonna do with Mr. Ross here. Stand by. State, does this information on this case already have 2 paragraphs, one alleging obstruction?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you're gonna waive 1 paragraph, does that sound right?
Yes, Your Honor. We will waive count 1 and proceed on count 2 alone, which is obstruction.
No objection from the defense, that'll be granted.
Objection.
Therefore, Mr. Ross, in cause 669-381 to the charge of obstruction of a highway, how do you plead, sir?
For contest.
And see what my paperwork says. We are on the same sheet of music. Yep, no contest to obstruction. State, is there an agreement for
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Ross?
Yes, Your Honor. 16 months deferred adjudication, $850 fine, court costs, 48 hours of community service, DWI education, victim impact panel live, CATSNP, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and regular UAs.
And defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Well, Judge, if I could, I think that at the time we talked, he completed the victim impact panel, but it was done, it had to be done before the pleas, got that done, but it was done by video because that's the way it was done at the time.
I'm gonna give him credit. It's okay. The state
Okay.
likes to have all that live, and I understand that, but we've had COVID and all that, so
Okay.
he's done it. That's great. He's done it.
And then Judge, I think, and I need to check this. I think he started the cat snip. I don't know if he has it done. He did check into it.
Yes, sir.
And he started it by video, and because the probation said they're no longer doing it, but I think he's already started it that way.
I'm asking, hey, Mr. Ross, I assume you're on the Smart Start mobile device currently, correct?
Sir, I have been since September when they told me.
And you're on 4 blows a day, does that sound right?
Sir, yes, sir.
And then this outpatient or the CATSNP course, did you register for that through the Community Alliance for Traffic Safety, or did you go to a different outpatient drug course? What did you do on that?
Sir, I called the San Antonio number I was given. They enrolled me, and I have been to 2 classes, and I'm proceeding until June. June should be completion.
All right, perfect. Okay, let me run through this and make sure I get this right. Mr. Ross, in clause 669-381, the court accepts your plea of no contest, defense of obstruction of a highway. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 16 months deferred adjudication probation, assess an $850 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, which you're going to get proactive credit for. Just provide proof of you went to it to your probation officer. Smart Start mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 8 months. Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, you're already doing that. You certainly get credit for whatever you've done on that until completion. And regular analysis test. State, for your edification, everybody in this court gets regular UA. So we can say it, but we're just duplicating what we're already doing for everybody.
And Judge,
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't have my paperwork in front of me. I thought they were probating 200 of the fine, but if that's not the case, but I thought that was the deal on it.
I don't show anything probated, but state, you know anything about that?
No objections to probating it.
All right, so we're gonna be 850 fine probating 250. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Got it. Anything else we need to change, Kurt?
No, Judge, but I don't know if it'd be possible because of his job. His wife is in the process of moving down there to Kingsville, and because he currently has family up and he can tell you exact location. Occasionally he goes home. I wonder if we could pre-approve him going home to see his family until they move down to Kingsville.
And where does his family currently live?
Lubbock, Texas.
I'm sorry, say again, sir?
Lubbock, Texas.
No problem. We're just gonna have him answer by Zoom also. I think Susan said that would be okay.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be allowed to live in Lubbock or wherever else he's gonna live. He just needs to let us know where his ultimate address is gonna be for his home. And he's gonna be allowed to commute back and forth to Kingsville for his job without getting permission every time.
Well, I think he actually lives in Kingsville and he goes up to Lubbock to see his family is what happened.
Is the family moving to Kingsville with him? Is that the deal?
Eventually.
All right, and that's fine. but you got my permission to go back and forth between Lubbock and Kingsville whenever you want.
Thank you, sir.
As long as we don't get in trouble, okay?
Yes, sir.
Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Ross?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
O más atrás.
Yes, Judge. If you can just notate on your paperwork that it's okay for him to reside down in Kingsville and report via Zoom.
All good. Okay, let's see what we're doing with Ms. Ravel.
Are we excused, Your Honor, or do we?
Yes,
stay?
you are. Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Ravel on cause 674-124. I've got her down as a DWI second. Does that sound right?
I believe the agreement was to downgrade it to Class B.
Okay, state, are you waiving the second enhancement?
That's not what my records indicate, Your Honor.
Mr. Brendel, is that what your understanding was of the plea bargain?
Yes, because she pled true to her MTR, so the deal was to move it down to Class B. And then I asked him about the reduction in probation.
What DA were you talking to when you made that agreement?
The former one,
Eddie Villarreal, perhaps?
or no, before that.
Let's do this. Let me
Oh,
put
no, it was Ross. It was the other prosecutor, Ross, that initially sent me an offer, and then I renegotiated because of her success with the Scram device.
All right, let me put you off the side for a minute, and we're gonna just do the rest of our pleas that we're ready on, and then you can come back and chat with the DA in chambers, see if I can work this out. Would that be okay?
Sure, that's fine.
All right, let's do that.
Your Honor, can we jump to Arroyo? I've got a contested juvenile setting at 10:30.
You got it. It's call number 678-732, State of Texas versus Ruth Arroyo. Let me see what we're doing with Miss Arroyo.
Judge, is there any way I could be put in a breakout room with the prosecutor? This is Kyle.
No,
Not that we just have one prosecutor. Do we have two?
no, Your
I didn't
Honor.
Yeah, well, we can certainly do that before your plea if you want to, but not right now.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Arroyo on call 678-732 to the charge of driving while intoxicated. How do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
Okay, paperwork says guilty. It doesn't matter to me. Doug, how do you want to have her plead?
Guilty.
Yeah, guilty.
Court accepts the plea of guilty to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. Is there an agreement for Mr. Arroyo?
Yes, Your Honor. 180 days over 12 months probation, $600 fine, 200 probated, court costs, 48 hours community service, 18 hours probated, DWI education, victim impact panel, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and CATSNP.
And Mr. Catmeyer, that's your understanding of the agreement?
That's it exactly, sir.
Stand by. Make sure I get this correct. Mr. Arroyo, on call 678-732, the court accepts your plea of guilty to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 1 year. A $600 fine, probating $200 of that, plus court costs, 48 hours community service, probating 18 hours of that, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Smart Start Mobile home interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 6 months, and the Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program. And that's what I got. What did I miss, State?
That's accurate, Your Honor.
Is that right, Mr. Catmeyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all good.
Unknown caller.
Hang on, turn on phones.
May I be excused, Your Honor?
You bet. Thank you very much. Both of y'all are excused.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Good luck.
Thank
She's
you.
with probation, Your Honor?
Susan? Probation should be contacting her.
Yes, as I stated in the beginning, that she will be contacted by probation either via email, telephone, or text. If you've
Thank you.
not heard from probation by next Wednesday when you wake up, you need to call the number that is listed in the chat, 210-335-7446.
Thank you. Sorry, Miss.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet. Good luck, ma'am. Let me see what we're doing with Mr. Richardson. State, you got a motion on Mr. Richardson's case 657-354.
Yes, Your Honor. We move to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement.
No objection from the defense, that will be granted. Therefore, Mr. Richardson, in clause 657-354 to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead, sir?
No contest.
And court accepts the plea of no contest. Is there an agreement for Mr. Richardson in clause 657-354?
Yes, Your Honor. 180 days over 15 months probation, $600 fine, court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CAT-SNP, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, motion to forfeit the weapon to defense counsel, gang evaluation, and the state will take into consideration cause number 673806.
Defense, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, it is.
And Mr. Bellevue, you willing to accept this firearm as additional attorney's fees with the understanding it's not to be returned to the defendant, his family, or his friend?
Yes.
Fair enough. Let's make sure I get this right. Mr. Richardson, in clause 657-354. The court accepts the plea of no contest to the offense of driving while intoxicated, first offense. I find you guilty. I assess 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 15 months. A $600 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel. Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 7.5 months. Taking into consideration clause 673-806, which is granted, it shall be dismissed. And the firearm from case 673-806 is awarded to defense counsel as additional attorney's fees, not to be returned to the defendant, his family, or his friends. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Richardson?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
And did you say
No,
gang
Your Honor.
check? Mr. Richardson, are you a member of some colorful organization?
No, sir.
All right, state, you want a gang check on Mr. Richardson?
Yes, Your Honor. I apologize if I missed it.
No problem. We're going to do a gang check on you, sir. I used to be a member of a gang, and it was really a bad one. It was called the 82nd Airborne Division. Okay, good luck, Mr. Richardson. Thank you, Mr. Bellevue. Y'all are excused.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McCrum, you ready on Mr. Fernandez?
Yes, sir.
Did I include this in my initial run, or do we need to start from scratch on this one?
You need to start from scratch, Mr.
All right.
Came in during.
And with regard, yeah, I'll let Mr. Brendel and the DA talk here in a second. All right. This is cause number 674-400, State of Texas versus Robert D. Fernandez, represented by Mr. Scott McCrum. The first document I have in this case is entitled, okay, everybody needs to turn off their microphone unless they're specifically talking to me. I'm getting background noise from somewhere. Everybody please turn off. There you go. Thank you, guys. The first document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Consent to Plea by Video Conference. Which purports to have both Mr. Fernandez and Mr. McCrum's signature. In fact, Mr. Fernandez, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. McCrum, as attorney for Mr. Fernandez, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Fernandez, the next document I have is entitled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions, that purports to have your signature on the back, effectively waiving certain constitutional rights you must waive in order to enter a plea before this court. In fact, sir, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. By signing this document, are you telling me that you've had enough time to either read this document or have it read to you in its entirety? If you had any questions about what was on this document, those questions were answered to your satisfaction by your attorney, so that in signing this document, you're telling me that you agree with and understand everything on this document. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. McCrum, as attorney for Mr. Fernandez, have you had enough time to go over this case with him? And in your opinion, is he mentally competent?
Yes, sir. He is.
Mr. Fernandez, are you a United States citizen, sir?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. McCrum, has the state fully complied with discovery for you on this case?
They have.
Let's see what we're doing on Mr. Fernandez. Stand by. Got it. State, you got a motion.
Yes, Your Honor. State moves to waive the greater than 0.15 enhancement.
No objection from the defense. That will be granted. And therefore, Mr. Fernandez, to the charge of driving while intoxicated, first offense. How do you plead?
No contest.
And state, is there an agreement for Mr. Fernandez?
Yes, Your Honor. 16 months deferred adjudication, $600 fine, court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, victim impact panel, CATSNP, Smart Start Mobile for half the term, and $60 to DPS for lab.
Mr. McCrum, is that your understanding of the agreement?
No, Judge, actually, after Eddie must have written that note in there, I spoke with him and he agreed to a 12-month term of deferred adjudication, not the 16.
Doesn't bother me. State, can we do that?
No objection.
All right.
And also, and this, I didn't speak with Eddie before. I hope the state's not opposed. Mr. Fernandez is a college student. I forgot to ask Eddie about probating some of the fine, but I would ask if you could probate some of that.
State, do I have your permission to probate $100?
Yes, Your Honor.
We'll do that.
Thank you. Otherwise, it is our agreement.
I just saved $100 for Mr. Fernandez to buy more beer. I went to college. I know how that works.
Hopefully not right now.
Mr. Fernandez must say, oh, no, sir. No. Okay. Mr. Fernandez, the cause 674-400. The court accepts your plea of no contest, defense of driving while intoxicated. Although I have enough evidence to find you guilty, I'm going to withhold a finding of guilt. Place you on 1 year deferred adjudication probation, assess a $600 fine, probating $100 that, plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety New Intervention Program, Smart Start Mobile Home Interlock at 4 blows a day for half the term, which is 6 months. And $60 reimbursement to the Texas Department of Public Safety for a lab fee. That being said, where does Mr. Fernandez go to college?
At Southwestern in Georgetown, Texas, and he's got 2 weeks left this semester before he comes back.
He lives in San Antonio, but he goes to school in Georgetown. Does that sound right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, he's got my permission to live either place. Just let his probation officer know where he is, and he can travel back and forth between those two places without getting permission every time.
Thank you.
His probation is going to be here, and he will answer by Zoom unless he actually moves back here and they want him in person. That'll be up to the probation department. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, if he resides here, he'll report in person. If he resides there, then he'll report by Zoom.
Okay. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Fernandez?
Nothing from the state, Your Honor.
No, sir. Thank you.
Good luck, Mr. Fernandez. Thank you, Mr. McCrum.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Brindell, do you want to go in a chat room with Mr. Reed and y'all can discuss the issues on your case?
Yes, I'd like to talk to the prosecutor.
So where did I lose Mr. Brindell? Is he still with us? I hear him. Oh, I see you now. All right. Pat, are you still with us?
Your Honor, I'm here.
You already sent them to a chat room?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Simpson, are you ready?
Judge, I'd like to talk to the prosecutor and then briefly with my client.
I mean, all those things that you're supposed to do before you got here today?
Just briefly.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm going to go ahead and put Mr. Simpson in there, and that way, as soon as Mr. Brindell's finished, if that's okay. Save a little time.
Thank you, Pat.
Maybe Simpson will learn something from a real lawyer.